Civil service must now reimagine itself as the frontline force of Pakistan's transformation. As Rector said, I posed this question some courses ago to our civil servants who came to visit us. And let me begin again by reflecting on a sobering paradox we must confront with honesty. Individually, our civil servants are among the brightest minds in the country, highly educated, most competitively selected, analytically sharp, and deeply experienced. But collectively, the civil service system is failing to deliver the outcomes our nation and people deserve. Why is our education system breaking down? Why is the healthcare inaccessible or dysfunctional in large parts of the country? Why do infrastructure projects stall and essential services lag behind? Why is public trust in state institutions so low? This is the dilemma we have: brilliant individuals working in a system that too often produces poor outcomes. The fault lies not with the people, but with the outdated system and rules, a culture of risk aversion and lack of accountability for results. I was just mentioning to the rector that once in a workshop, one grade 21 officer mentioned to me, "Sir, I have three principles in my career which I have followed religiously. And I've made it to grade 21 and most likely I will also make it to grade 22. And I asked him, "What are your three rules or principles of service?" He said, "Sir, my first rule is never have eye contact with the chair. And my second rule is never volunteer. And my third rule is never take part in any discussion and make no comment." So, following these three rules, I have made it to grade 21, and most likely I will also make it to 22. So this theory of survival, I think, is no more relevant. So we have to really think out of box, how can we break this inertia? The great challenge before us is to move from a civil service that is procedure focused to one that is mission driven. The world today is experiencing rapid disruption: technological, geopolitical, demographic, and environmental. The fourth and fifth industrial revolutions are changing how societies and economies operate and how governments serve their people. Meanwhile, Pakistan stands at a critical juncture. Our economy must break the boom and bust cycle. Our governance must regain credibility, and our development model must shift from aid and donor-driven to export and productivity-led. This will not happen with status quo governance. It will only happen if we build a 21st century civil service, data savvy, technology enabled, policy and reform focused, and accountable for delivery. That brings me to the governance model we are promoting across federal institutions and what I call the STAR model. To build a capable state and restore citizen trust, we need STAR governance. S for stable. We must build institutions that are predictable, policy consistent, and shielded from political volatility. T for transparent. Every rupee spent and every decision made must be open to scrutiny. Transparency breeds trust. A for agile. Bureaucracy must be responsive and adaptive. Rapid change demands rapid governance. And R for responsible. Civil servants must act as custodians of public resources and deliver with integrity, results, and accountability. This model is not a theory, It is a practical blueprint for transforming how we plan, decide, and deliver. Let me also share a personal reflection. When I was tasked to lead the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, it was a bold and ambitious agenda. Energy, infrastructure, Gwadar, industrial zones, all under tight timelines and immense pressures. Many at that time thought that this is a mission which cannot be accomplished, but within 4 years, we were able to accomplish results that surprised the whole world. But the reason CPEC succeeded in its foundational phase was you, the civil servants who worked across ministries, provinces, and departments with dedication and determination. Together, we mobilized $25 billion in investments, executed large-scale energy and infrastructure projects, and positioned Pakistan as a strategic regional hub. What happened after 2018 is a separate story. CPEC stands as a living example of what is possible when the civil service is mobilized with clarity, mission, and leadership. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are pursuing a new vision to make Pakistan a $1 trillion economy by 2035. An ambitious but achievable goal. This is the essence of Udaan Pakistan, our national economic transformation plan built around the 5 E's. 1, exports. 2, e-Pakistan. 3, environment, food and water security. 4, energy and infrastructure. And 5, equity and empowerment. Let me outline each of these, how it depends on your leadership. 1, exports. Pakistan's future rests on how fast we will be able to achieve $100 billion export target. Because if you look at our 77 years history, among other weaknesses, one major structural weakness we have in our economy is that we fail to develop an export-led growth model. As a result, every time we grow, we achieve 6% growth rate. There is a demand for imports, and we do not have corresponding increase in exports. We don't have the foreign exchange to meet our bills. There is a wide current account deficit.